I just got an offer in the mail to buy my house. Now what do I do? We'll talk about that on today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to talk with you today about a phenomenon in the real estate world that we've just seen kind of come to the forefront in the last couple of years, and that is the iBuyer platform. You may have heard the term iBuyer, you may not have. You may also recognize it as companies like Opendoor, OfferPad, and Zillow that are purchasing homes cash outright as is from clients around the Phoenix metro area, actually all over the country. But a lot of people ask me, what is an iBuyer and is it worth it? Is it a good decision to do that? So I wanted to touch on that just for a few minutes on this week's episode so we can clear up some of the confusion on what it is and what it is not. So first of all, what it is not. It is not a traditional way of selling your home, and it is not an option for everyone that makes the most sense. There are chances to potentially take more proceeds away as you walk away if you're not going through the iBuyer option. But if you're looking for something that is a quick option that can get the property off the market quickly without having to deal with showings, things like that, iBuyer platforms, iBuyer offers might be the best thing for you. So again, we mentioned a few companies. There are a few others that are in the marketplace as well, just not as well known as the three that I mentioned originally. And actually a lot of brokerages individually have cash buyer, iBuyer options. So what is an iBuyer? An iBuyer basically is a company that uses technology to purchase homes on a large scale and then resell those homes. So they basically act as a middleman. They are typically not a matchmaker. They're not an agency like we are, where you find buyer, find seller, put them together. They are a middleman. So they'll purchase the home from you, and then the intent is to sell the home to someone else after doing so. Opendoor or some of those companies like that won't buy every home necessarily. They typically look at homes anywhere between $125,000 and $500,000, and they're looking for homes that they can turn quickly for a profit. The goal of an iBuyer is not to hold the property long term. It is to turn the property for a profit pretty quickly. So how do they do what they do? Well, they'll make you an offer. Then they'll usually add service charges, not usually, always, will add service charges to that offer that basically cover their fees for turning the property over, the fees for selling the property again, and things like that. So, in a traditional, all commissions are negotiable, but a traditional real estate market model, an agent or a broker will charge you 6% of the purchase price to sell your home, and that includes a commission for both the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. In the case of an iBuyer, you could see fees anywhere from 8 to 12%, depending on the iBuyer and the situation. So in exchange for higher fees, you are getting some certainty and, again, some ease of the process. So if you have lots of equity in the home, maybe it's a good option. But if you have the time to sell it, you really need to evaluate if that makes sense. So the other question I get is, do the offers that you receive in the mail from these iBuyers match what the market would bring if you were to sell the property? So the answer, actually, specifically in the Phoenix market right now, is a lot of times yes. They're only going to probably be a few percent off on the offer itself. However, you do need to remember what I just mentioned, which is the service charges they're going to charge you. So if you sell your home for $400,000 to an iBuyer, and then they charge you 8% of that, if my math in my mind is correct, that should be about $32,000 in fees on top of that. Whereas in a traditional market, you would have paid $24,000 in fees. So you have about an $8,000 difference. And again, that's not necessarily knocking them. That's what they do. They're trying to make money. And in order to function as a middleman and to provide a convenient option for sellers, they do charge a higher rate. So you just have to determine if that's a good fit for you or not. So an iBuyer offer is a good way to get a ballpark of what your home might be worth. So you might get something in the mail that says, hey, this company wants to buy your home for $350,000. Okay, well, that gives you an idea that your home's probably priced in that ballpark. But again, just like on a previous video we talked about, don't use online valuation tools to verify your value. I would say the same thing about iBuyer offers. Do not use an iBuyer offer to verify the value of your home. You want to have a licensed real estate agent, real estate broker come in and do a full comparable market analysis to give you an idea of what it really is worth. So All this to say, there's a lot more to iBuyers, but again, the function of an iBuyer, they use technology to reach a large amount of sellers, a large amount of buyers, and they try to purchase homes and then resell them on the market with the goal of making a profit. So for you as an individual, what I would recommend is give me a call. Call us here at the office. Anytime you receive an offer and you're even curious about what that means, if you're thinking about selling, is that the best option? I'm happy to go over the different scenarios with you. And at 410 Real Estate, we really want to make sure that you're cared for through this process. And so if you choose that an iBuyer option is the best option for you and your family, then more power to you. But I really want you to make sure that you're informed and engaged in the process, and that you don't get a little bit of sticker happiness from seeing a price that you're going, oh man, I could just sell my house for this right now. That's great. When you might actually be able to get a little bit more, or certainly if you get that amount, be able to pay a little bit less in fees if the iBuyer option isn't the right fit. So if you like content like this, please share this information with your friends so they can figure out what those letters in the mail they're getting are as well. And think about subscribing to the channel. If you have other questions, I'd be curious if you comment below the video here on any questions you might have about the real estate market or real estate terms that you've heard. It would help us make sure that the content we're putting out is of value to the people watching it. So we really appreciate you tuning in today, and we will see you next time on the channel.